Now let's take a look at how to create a smart playlist. A smart playlist is essentially a saved search command, kind of like how you can search for a song or other file in the search field in the upper right-hand corner of the iTunes window. But smart playlists give you so much more power in terms of specifying exactly what you're looking for in a file. The difference between a smart playlist and a regular playlist is that a smart playlist has the ability to change and update its contents on its own based on the criteria you create for it. A regular playlist is a static list that does not change until you manually add or delete songs from it. So let's take a look at smart playlists. Now we already do have some smart playlists built into iTunes. For instance, we have 90s music, which shows me all the songs in my library that were recorded in the 90s. Classical music, music videos, my top rated, shows me my rated songs. Some of these are obviously empty because I don't have files that fall into that criteria. Recently added, recently played, top 25 most played. You can see I'm not playing too much in this copy of iTunes. So these are built-in smart playlists that will automatically update themselves and which you don't have to do a thing to. They just constantly monitor the files you're importing, editing, or deleting, and they update themselves based on that. So let's take a look at how to create one. Just like creating a regular playlist, there are multiple ways to create a smart playlist. I can go to the File menu and choose New Smart Playlists, or use the keyboard command. On the Mac, I can hold down the Option key, and you'll notice down here in the lower left-hand corner how the New Playlist button turns into this cog button, and that's the icon for a new smart playlist. On Windows, you hold down the Shift key to bring up the Smart Playlist icon. So I'm going to go ahead and click that. And now we're looking at the Smart Playlist window, and it's in here where you create the rules for your playlist. You see at the top we have Match the Following Rule, and that's currently checked. And if I click on this first menu, you can see I have a lot of different criteria to choose from. Let's say I want to create a smart playlist based on play count. So I'm going to choose play count. Now, depending on what you select in the first menu, the other menu and the field to the right will change. So in this case, I can say the play count is not, is greater than, is less than, or is in the range. So let's say I want to create a playlist that will show me any file that I've played less than 2 times. This could be a way for me to identify songs that I don't listen to very much, so I could either spend more time listening to them or maybe just eliminate them. So that's how you set a rule for a smart playlist. If you want to further specify additional criteria, you just click the plus button. So maybe what I really want is a smart playlist that will show me only songs by the Jelly Bricks. So artist contains, or I could say artist is, the Jelly Bricks. And I could continue to add criteria. If I click too many times, I just click the minus sign to remove these extra rules that I'm not going to use. Now, if you've created a playlist that might contain hundreds of songs and you want to limit it, you can check limit to X number of items, or minutes, or hours, or megabytes, or gigabytes. And if you've limited the number of items, you might also want to specify how the items that appear will be selected from this menu, either at random or by album, artist, genre, and so on. Match only checked items means that only items with a check next to them in your library will be added to the smart playlist. So if there are items that you know you never want to have come up, you can just uncheck them. And live updating, which is checked by default, means that the smart playlist will automatically update itself without me having to do anything else. Okay, so here's my smart playlist. And again, it will only list songs by the Jelly Bricks that I played less than 2 times. I'll click OK. There's my smart playlist called the Jelly Bricks, and here's my list of songs. Now, I do have this play count column that I opened previously. Again, if you don't see a particular column, you can simply right-click in the column area and choose the column that you want to see. And I have one song in here that I've played once called Got Away. And just to show you how the smart playlist updates itself, I'm going to play this song and watch what happens when it reaches the end. I'm just going to fast forward to the end. And just like that, you might have seen for a brief second the play count turned to 2, but now this song is completely gone from this smart playlist, because I have this smart playlist set up to only show me songs that have been played fewer than 2 times. So that's an example of the live updating capabilities of the smart playlist. Now, if you want to edit a playlist, you simply right-click on it and choose Edit Smart Playlist. So maybe what I really want is a playlist that shows me all the songs I've played less than 2 times that are not a Jelly Bricks song. So I'll say the artist is not the Jelly Bricks. Now, new to iTunes 9 is the ability to create nested rules. A nested rule is a rule that only comes into play if the main rules hold true. So for example, right now I have the smart playlist set up so that the items it lists must follow the 2 rules that their play counts are less than 2 times and the music is not by the Jelly Bricks. So with all selected, both those rules have to apply. Now I'll click the ellipses button to add a nested rule. And you can see it's sort of indented now. Here I'm going to select any of the following rules so that any of the nested rules can apply in order for the songs to appear in my playlist. First, maybe I want to limit the songs to only songs that were recorded in the 90s and later. So I'm going to say year is greater than, and I'll say 1989. Maybe I want to make an exception for the Beatles. So I'm going to add another nested rule underneath that, and I'll say artist is the Beatles. And I'll click OK. So now I have a playlist of only songs that were released during or after the 90s, with the exception of the Beatles. So you can see here are my Beatles songs. Those are recorded in 1969, 1966. But the year for all of these other songs are all after 1989. And only after 1989. As you can see, you can get very specific with Smart Playlists. With iTunes 9, Apple included this classical music Smart Playlist as an example of a Smart Playlist with nested rules. If I choose Edit Smart Playlist, you can see that in this case, they've created a Smart Playlist where any of the following rules can apply. Media kind is music music video, and then any of these other genres will fall into this Smart Playlist as well. But your Smart Playlists don't have to be this complicated. And you are free to edit any of these pre-existing Smart Playlists as well, or even delete them if you don't need them. For example, let's look at this recently added Smart Playlist. I'm going to right-click on that, choose Edit Smart Playlist. You can see this is currently set that the date added is in the last 2 weeks. So all files that I've added in the last 2 weeks will show up in here, except for podcasts. You can see media kind is not podcast. Maybe I want the span of this to be a little bit longer. I can change this to 3 weeks. So now all songs that have been added in the past 3 weeks will be appearing in my Smart Playlist. So that's how you work with Smart Playlists in iTunes 9.